So Josh, it's really nice to see you, not behind the camera, but actually in front of the camera, which is unusual for you. So how did you get involved at first with this project?
Yes, I had originally connected with Matt Bowman via a Facebook group that a friend of a friend had told me about. So I emailed him and I sent him some little bit of like music and doc related portfolio work. And he responded and he thought that would be a good fit. Because he said he wanted to he was just looking for a good fit. So we had a great first call, and then I think we all had a call to just acquaint, and that was pretty much the start. And then we did the first Pacific Northwest tour in February, which I thought went really well, and under Matt's direction. From there, we had originally structured, we structured the film in two parts. And so while I shot the first part, the second part, I would say was fully just from my team and my editor and my direction.
Yeah. So, well, for the sake of clarity, and then people who have no idea of who Matt Bowman is, who is Matt Bowman for this project, and what is he?
Oh yeah, so Matt Bowman is the co-director, and he had the existing relationship with you guys for a lot of years and a lot of different projects. So I was able to kind of see a lot of material that you guys have made together, and it seemed like it was pretty like just just a close relationship. So he's a director out of LA, and he lived in San Francisco at one point, or?
No, he actually had a company that he was being represented by. So it was like a collection of the directors. It's a production firm. So, and then but still he was living in LA, but he would come back and forth to LA and Oakland. And then the firm closed. So he just transitioned to being fully in LA. Yeah, Matt is a great friend of ours. We've been doing stuff for over 10 years, and now he's directing music videos for Warner Brothers and then Warped Records and a lot of big names now. So the way you got involved was that he couldn't do the second part, right? He couldn't finish the film. So why did we divide it up into chapters? Was there any other long-term plan, or what was the structural reason?
It was a kind of maiden voyage into this media project. From what I understand, it was maybe originally going to be a multi-part series that we could continue to iterate on, or just something longer, whatever, how many episodes we were talking about at the time. But from some of the advice that we got over time, we seemed to get an opinion that going for a feature project was actually more favorable for starting something that could be acquired easier, something that wouldn't interfere with like investment, like if you have a partial series or whatever, or you would need a larger investment to make the whole thing. So we got some opinions early on just from colleagues that we were reaching out to that, hey, we think that a feature would be a little more wieldy for what we're doing, execution and acquisition budget, et cetera. So we pivoted to do that while, I want to say it was after the first part was shot, but that part was still being like edited, I think, at the time.
Yeah, first part was being edited. Yes.
That's correct.
Yeah, so what was your sort of, because we didn't really talk about the, pre-existing sort of, what would you say, blueprint. We didn't have any of that stuff. Like we had certain ideas, and how did you put these second chapter together?
We had kept in very close touch during the first part, and also after it was wrapped, we kept in close touch, And I think that at that time we knew that there was like more. So we just kind of kept this churn conversation. Well, I felt as though just from being around you guys and just hearing the large vision, even chapter 1 had kind of evolved of what that was going to be, whether it was like just method samplers, kind of vignettes. Yeah. And I think I want to say that was pretty much the intention, but then we knew we were going to do more. So it was like, okay, where does the story continue? And really, I think that's where we got to the bottom of like the actual intention of the film, which talks about, we believe all of our current systems are failing across the world governments, financial institutions. We're in, this like decaying phase of our civilization. And that's really what the film is about. And I think when we were able to dig into that and then see, what was left in the year with the ensemble, that was really where that was the beginning of writing the second part. We knew we wanted to do this. I mean, I remember us just having calls like every week for a few hours, and I was just like kind of living the story. And my job was to internalize the information and also the vision that you have. So once I can kind of think in that and just like completely know it, because I have to make the decisions for the film, I have to know it so close and be able to generate in a way that I know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that was the process.
Yeah, I think that having Fabio as the main subject for the second chapter was very important, right? So second chapter is very different than first chapter in terms of its pacing and style. And obviously, first chapter, there are a lot of people that are involved. But what would you say when you were directing it? Like, what did you have some sort of cinematic vision? Because I mean, I had the story that I wanted to talk about, but then it's really told through and then put together by you, right? So what was your cinematic vision or style that you were going for?
Sure. Well, I think despite just how I shoot, I really steeped heavily in references, very like to a granular degree. Like some of our references I just picked apart so much, like we got from this scene to this scene in this type of way. And they were all, docs that some of them were music related, some of them weren't, that were in a similar length. So there was like big picture observations of like, how do you structure an hour? And then there were small, like just micro decisions of how are they integrating their interviews? How are we getting from one scene to the next? When do we decide to like just let a scene really breathe and not be too talking head? So yeah, it's just like, obviously those are all the decisions contained in like making something that feels like something that feels like something intentional. So it was really, my process just includes lots of like steeping in references, because it's like a signal of taste and also evidence of, something that somebody else executed. So it's like somebody else at the end of something, they did this.
So what would you say that's like your sampling or meta sampling some of their rationales and put this 100%. Movie together? That's interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, and so we're actually talking now. We just did our premiere a couple days ago. And what happened since then?
I'll back up a little bit and just talk about the distribution process. I would say that just in any of my discussions, that's been probably what I've been getting the most questions about. I know it's very like kind of filmmaker centric, because that's like, I don't know, just very challenging thing to acquire. So I would kind of tell the story starting there. So we got connected with Cinema Libre, we were looking for distribution when we had a picture that was locked, and we had something to send out. So just basically through just hitting the bricks of emailing, just who do you know, who can we talk to? I feel as even some of the people that we didn't actually know, and it was just actually cold, I was surprised how generous people were. And you know, we're like, this is the first project of a thing. There were in a lot of ways, like, you know, I don't necessarily come from that background of like the post, like after the film is done, like really carrying it to that next level, like anything regarding distribution. So anyway, we got connected with Cinema Libre, who liked the project, and maybe actually I'll ask you more about that. But from the point of distribution, it then becomes a question of okay, how about film festivals? How about we do this thing? Because it's like the other thing, like to do to get recognition. You know, you're marketing the film. You could possibly get some like awards and so on. So we were through Cinema Libre got into the Downtown LA Film Festival, which is where we are this weekend, and it was a lovely weekend. We were able to speak with a bunch of other really cool directors and get a little bit of insight of even more established directors who have done this many times over. So it was great to just you know, absorb and learn, like people that have, you know, on their almost you know, somebody we had spoken with somebody who'd done almost 10 features and supported them in the whole cycle. So it was like really great. We were able to learn a little more about distribution, et cetera, and so on. So yeah, so our screening was on it was on Thursday.
Yeah,
November 2nd, yeah. So it was great. You know, we saw it playing in a theater. So that was a great experience. And the distributor was there. Will from the doc was there. Everybody, all of the EMN team was there. Chris, Barbara.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was a great, you know, bringing it to, I guess, our first festival. So.
And then we won. We won an award.
That's right. Yeah, as of 30 minutes ago, we found out that we got we won an award for best musical documentary. So that's right. That was great.
Yeah. Well, so what's the next for us? What are we planning?
Yeah. So something that's been very exciting about this project I feel as though we've always been talking about it in a way that is looking forward. It was never like, this is the thing and we're done. Like, we want to make this and that's kind of it. It has always been framed in the conversation of, this is actually the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, because there's actually a kind of a roadmap for you know, EMN kind of media machine, I'm going to call it right now. So yeah, we believe that a series actually is where this film goes next, because we think that it it's still in a way I think a pilot for something that could be longer and more ambitious. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we're working on essentially a 6-part series at the moment.
Yeah. Is it all about meta sampling? What is it? What is the big chunk of it? Is it like so many people who are doing meta sampling, or what's the core of the story?
Yes. So something else that's been just very educational throughout this is just finding what people are connecting with when you talk about the film. Because everybody's like, oh, what's your film about? What's your film about? And you kind of have like 3 sentences before people are kind of like zoning out. So I think in a lot of the first conversation was like, oh, well, we came up with this idea. It's called method sampling. And then you have to explain that. And then you have to say, oh, by the way, this is important because, you know, we think blah, blah, blah. And it just kind of seemed like you have to make this big kind of stack. And it just wasn't it just we needed to continue to refine even just how we were like speaking about the film. But I think where we started to like turn a corner with it is leading with the premise of the apocalypse.
Tell me more about that. What does that mean?
Yes. So
or do they have to actually see the series to really get it? Like, of course, but what is it about?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really a reaction to our why. Our why should anyone care? The biggest common denominator emotion that we think we can relate to everybody, regardless of what your specific interests are, is just pointing to that we believe that our global systems are failing us. We think that, as Fabio said, the system that's supposed to be delivering the goods is no longer doing so, and it's not providing the happiness for us that it should be or could be. And so really the intention of the film and where we feel like we can visualize a larger project is under this premise, because we think it's something that everybody can relate to and be interested in, and we just quite frankly have more to say about it. I think Fabio was like an amazing carried the ball for that, because that is his field. That's why we chose to speak with him. So yes, this series is about that.
Well, I mean, I also want to mention that you just moved out here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the impetus behind it, and what are you going to do here when you're now in the belly of the beast?
Exactly. So yeah, I just got an apartment in LA, so I'll be moving next month. I've pretty much like established on the East Coast, and just over the years you kind of spider out of your region, if that's what you want to do. So, but anyway, so I'm traveling out more. Particularly this year was getting way more work in LA, and I would say started to build a bit of a community clientele network here, to the point where it actually made sense. I say it as the belly of the beast. I'm going to come here because I think that's where we can take things to the next level. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, so it's a smaller area. It's not a big city. So I was just thinking like, oh well, maybe New York because it's closer. But I think that again, as of this year, things turned to have LA make way more sense. And so even for where we are with this project now, I think it'll be just way more conducive in meeting the right people and just getting into the scene, and this place is as a hub city. Yeah.
So you're going to be a Mr. Hollywood soon. Yeah, change your name into like single syllable word. Yeah. I'm just joking. Well,
Director alias.
Yeah, thank you very much. This has been a wonderful experience working with you, and we are definitely making the 6-part series. It's going to be ambitious and entertaining. It's going to be pretty crazy, pretty out there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Ron.
Yeah.